Beneath the ordinary world lies a veil, and behind it, the voices of the lost still whisper.
We are your guides into the shadows, where true crime meets the paranormal.
From chilling crimes to haunted histories, we uncover the stories that refuse to rest.
This is Veil of Echoes.
It's Christmas night in Boulder, Colorado. The house is quiet now. Not because it's empty, but because that day was full. The wrapping paper has been cleared away. The lights are still glowing. Shoes sit by the door, exactly where they are left. Inside this home, a family sleeps, believing the hardest part of the holiday is over. What happened next didn't unfold in a rush. There was no scream that woke the neighborhood. No sound that pulled anyone from their bed. It happened quietly, inside a house that had always felt safe. And by morning, nothing inside these walls would ever make sense again. Her name was JonBenét Ramsey. She was 6 years old. Nearly 30 years later, this case still doesn't give us a clean timeline. It doesn't give us a clear suspect, and it doesn't give us answers that fully hold. Tonight, we're not here to sensationalize what happened. We're here to walk carefully through the night as it unfolded, minute by minute, and ask why this case still refuses to rest.
Episode 28, The Murder of JonBenét Ramsey, Part 1, A House Full of Secrets.
Hey guys, welcome back to Veil of Echoes.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Bria. Every week we cross that fragile line between truth and the unknown, telling the stories that linger long after they end and the ones that echo through the places where they happened. Tonight we take you inside a home that became the center of one of the most haunting and divisive cases in modern American history.
A case shaped by unanswered questions, conflicting timelines, and an investigation that fractured almost as soon as it began.
This is part 1 of our 2-part deep dive into the murder of JonBenét Ramsey, a case that continues to divide investigators, experts, and the public, nearly 3 decades later.
Before we begin, if you appreciate the care, research, and storytelling we put into each episode, please consider following Veil of Echoes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening.
Leaving a rating or review helps our small indie show reach new listeners and allows these stories to be told with the depth and respect they deserve.
And as always, we're grateful to have you here with us. A brief content warning before we begin. This episode discusses the death of a child. We approach this case with care, restraint, and deep respect for JonBenét Ramsey and those who loved her.
Our goal is never shock value, but understanding, accuracy, and honoring the life at the center of this story.
Listeners' discretion is advised.
To understand what happened inside this house, we have to go back to Christmas Day, back to the image the world was shown, and back to the moments before everything changed.
Before the headlines, before the theories, before the world learned JonBenét's name, there was Christmas.
December 25th, 1996, began like so many others for the Ramsey family. A holiday morning filled with excitement, with gifts opened early, with photographs taken, and with plans already forming for the next day. Nothing about that morning suggested it would end in tragedy.
John Ramsey was the CEO of Access Graphics, a computer service company recently acquired by Lockheed Martin. The sale made John a wealthy man and firmly placed the Ramsey family among Boulder's most affluent residents. They lived in a large home on 15th Street, a house with multiple levels, staircases, and rooms that had been added over time.
Patty Ramsey was deeply involved in her children's lives. She was a former beauty queen, active in community events, and intensely focused on creating a full, structured life for her family. Just a few years earlier, Patsy had survived advanced ovarian cancer, a battle that shaped how she approached motherhood and time with her children.
JonBenét was 6 years old. She was energetic, confident, talkative. Friends and teachers described her as expressive and affectionate, a child who enjoyed attention and thrived in social settings. Her older brother, Burke, was 9. He was more reserved, more introverted, and often described as thoughtful and intelligent.
To neighbors and friends, the Ramseys appeared close-knit, busy, privileged, deeply involved in their children's lives. There were no public signs of crisis, no police calls, no history of violence inside the home.
And this matters, because much of what followed would be shaped by assumptions about wealth, image, family dynamics, and what people believed a family like this was capable of.
That Christmas evening, the Ramseys attended a holiday dinner at the home of close family friends, Fleet and Priscilla White. It was a familiar tradition, a relaxed gathering with no reported tension or conflict. Later that night, the family returned home. JonBenét fell asleep in the car. John carried her upstairs and placed her in bed. Burke was put to bed shortly after. The house grew quiet.
They were scheduled to leave early the next morning, flying to Michigan to visit family for the rest of the holiday. Luggage was partially packed. Plans were set. Everything pointed toward an ordinary night, ending an ordinary Christmas day.
But what happened inside that house overnight would fracture that normalcy forever. And before we step into the morning that followed, there's something important to understand. This case didn't begin with physical evidence. It began with perception.
Who the Ramseys were, how they were seen, and how quickly an image can harden into belief.
By the time the sun rose over Boulder on December 26th, the story of what happened inside that home was already beginning to take shape. Before investigators fully understood what they were even dealing with.
The first moment that story began to fracture came not from a scream, not from a struggle, but from a note. Nothing prepares you for realizing the most important words in your life were written by someone who never signed their name. December 26, 1996. It was still dark outside when Patsy Ramsey went downstairs. She later said she was preparing for the family's early flight, moving through the house, as she had done countless mornings before.
As Patsy descended from the spiral staircase leading from the second floor to the kitchen, she noticed something out of place on the steps. 3 handwritten pages, laid out deliberately.
The note was written on paper taken from inside the Ramseys' home. Using a pen that also belonged to the family. It was not brief. It was nearly 2.5 pages long, an extreme outlier for a ransom note.
According to Patsy, she immediately realized it was a ransom demand and began screaming for John. John came downstairs and began reading the note more closely.
The note opened with the words, "Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully."
It claimed JonBenét had been kidnapped by what the writer described as a small foreign faction. The note demanded a ransom of $118,000, a figure that closely matched John Ramsey's recent bonus.
At one point, the note attempted reassurance, stating, "She is safe and unharmed."
But that reassurance quickly shifted into threat. Any deviations of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter.
The language continued to shift throughout the note, from formal to threatening to unexpectedly familiar, including the line, "Use that good Southern common sense of yours." And later, "Don't try to grow a brain, John."
This constant shift in tone, from reassurance to violence to personal familiarity, was one of the reasons investigators immediately viewed the note as unusual.
Despite the note's explicit warnings not to contact law enforcement, at approximately 5:52 a.m., Patty Ramsey called 911. She reported her daughter kidnapped and said a ransom note had been found.
During the call, Patsy was audibly distressed. She did not read the ransom note aloud or relay its full contents. The call ended abruptly.
John Ramsey then contacted friends and neighbors, including Fleet and Priscilla White, asking them to come to the house. Within a short period of time, the home filled with people, friends, family, and eventually, police.
When Boulder police arrived, they treated the situation as a kidnapping. The house was not sealed as a crime scene, no perimeter was established, and no one was assigned to monitor who entered or exited the home.
As the morning went on, friends moved freely through rooms. Coffee was made, surfaces were wiped, items removed. Whether anyone realized it or not, potential evidence was being disturbed.
Investigators focused heavily on the ransom note. Its length, its structure, its dramatic language. They noted it appeared to have been written inside the house, rather than brought in from outside.
It was also during these early hours that details about JonBenét's life began circulating publicly, including her participation in local child beauty pageants, a fact that quickly became a focal point for media coverage, often overshadowing the early investigative facts.
And by late morning, the ransom deadline mentioned in the note had passed. No phone call ever came, no instructions followed, and JonBenét had not been returned.
At this point, what was believed to be a kidnapping was already unraveling, but the house had still not been fully searched, and no one inside understood just how close the truth actually was.
Based on what we've known at that moment, the length of the note, its shifting tone, and the fact that it appeared to be written inside the home, what would you have expected investigators to do next?
Well, for one, the whole crime scene was tampered with.
I was about to say, that whole crime scene's fucked now.
I know.
That's like the most...
Like, you're cleaning countertops, you're moving items from wherever.
That's like the most... I just want to say the investigators on this, when they're just stupid. no matter what, you should still treat a kidnapping as a crime scene. And honestly, if you think the note was written in the home, you should have sealed the home off.
Well, not only that, before they called, or before they even showed
called
up.
the cops, they called their friends and family to come over. Like, what? Why?
No, you need to call the cops first. It's kind of like that call that I got when I used to work for, that place.
Oh, yeah.
Getting that call of, what am I supposed to do? Well, you gotta call the cops.
Yeah.
Like, here, let me tell you that I found a dead body in my bed, in my son's bed. But I'm gonna call you guys first. I'm not gonna call the police.
Yeah.
I was telling that lady, I was like, no, you need to call the police. This has nothing to do with us.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, that's not what we do here.
I mean,
you
you have to be put in their shoes, I guess, but like for one, I personally would not be calling my friend, oh, hey, come over so we can read this note.
Hey.
I would be like, no, I'm calling the cops. Like, where's my kid at?
Daughter's missing. Why am I going to call my friends? I mean, I can see family members calling family members because that's something, but friends?
Well, yeah, calling them's one thing, but inviting them all to come over, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's not like those people are like, hey, what if we come over? They're like, hey, you guys come over, and like,
Yeah.
I understand you're trying to put together a search party, but you don't even know what's going on yet.
No. Like, that should have been first and foremost
Especially if you got a ransom note, so like, at that point, you're just thinking, well, maybe she was kidnapped, but it says it was written in the house, so...
Well, then I'm curious if Patsy found the note, and then she
3
started
pages.
screaming for John. Like, if that was me, I'd immediately go to my daughter's room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
See if she
wouldn't.
was
Yeah,
there
I would be
first.
running straight to my kid's bedroom to make sure
I'd
they're
probably
there.
be yelling
Yeah.
for you anyway.
It said
But then at the
2.5
same time, I'd
pages.
still be going to her room.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of people writing ransom notes, but they said
I
2.5
wouldn't even
pages.
read the whole thing first. If I saw we took your daughter, I'd be like, I'd run to her room first to make sure it was
Yep.
It'd be like Liam Neeson up in this bitch then.
true. But I don't know. That's
took
how
who?
I mean, everybody has their own, ways of doing
I will
things.
find you,
Well, that's
and
why
I will kill you.
it's all right for, like, if you have a similar mindset being parents, but it's good for you both to have your own ways too, because then you can go check one thing and I'll go check another thing, so that way we spread and like divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's faster that way. Like, anytime you hear a noise, I go outside, see what's going on.
And I'd be searching the whole house right then and there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, top to bottom. I'd be like, where the fuck are you at?
Yeah.
If I'm sitting right here and I see Jensen at this table, he likes to crawl behind me. Now if I can sit here for a second, I'm like, oh shit, take off that way. And then come back and he's still sitting right behind the chair. I'm like, what are you doing?
He's like,
I
I'm
love you,
playing
buddy.
tricks on you.
Yeah, he does too.
Yes.
He's like, I want to put the fear of God in you guys.
He does all the time.
Lane's starting to try to jump scare, so I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We watch the videos all the time, and he's like, hey, 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 hey. Especially when it's babies and dogs. I'm like,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I kind of did that to my parents when I was 2 years old. We went to Six Flags and we were in the water park.
Yeah, you said that.
let's shut that bitch down.
You said that.
Yeah.
That is funny.
But see, that's
But
like...
they immediately...
They shut it down. Nobody was allowed to like come into the park, like into the water park, or leave it until I was found. I'm like, just like, what?
And that was... I mean...
Back then.
If it was my dog, I'd be like, where the fuck is my dog at?
Yeah, been there.
Be John Wick in this bitch.
I know.
I thought somebody stole Thor one time, and I was outside, and I fell to the ground. I was having a panic attack. I was like,
Yeah, that's I remember. But yeah, it says another thing real quick. Surfaces were wiped, items were removed, and they didn't even pay attention to who came. They just let friends move freely through the home.
That's
and
your first
didn't
mistake.
Pay attention who came in and who came out of the house. Like, for instance, what if the perpetrator or whatever killer was still in there?
I'd say perpetrator for sure, because
I don't know. It's one of those things.
I'm sorry,
It
but
wasn't handled properly. At all.
no, this is all on the police force. They should have really figured out their shit. It's a 72-hour period. after the 72-hour period, then they consider it a missing person.
Again, what we said
which
before,
is
it's just so
stupid.
stupid.
Like,
'cause every minute matters.
It doesn't matter if
Yeah.
it's been 5 minutes or 6 days. That person's missing.
Adult or not, it's just like, check in. Like, come on now.
Yeah. And I mean, if you know that this person doesn't do stuff like that, that should be a huge red flag.
Yeah.
No matter how old they are.
Especially nowadays, we got so much social media. People post every time they do something. So if an adult's like, I'm getting out of here because I don't want to be here no more, then you can track that. But if you don't hear from them in 72 hours, then a good chance is they're gone.
Yes.
Yeah. And they just don't want to acknowledge it.
No. As the hours passed, attention slowly shifted from waiting for a call to searching the house itself. And what would be found next would change this case forever.
More than 7 hours had passed since the 911 call that morning. 7 hours of people moving through the house. 7 hours of a crime scene left unsecured. And 7 hours before JonBenét was found.
At this point, investigators still believe JonBenét might be inside the home, possibly hiding, injured, or overlooked during earlier searches. Around 1 p.m., Boulder police asked John Ramsey and family friend Fleet White to conduct another search of the house and report anything unusual.
They should have done that before.
How
7 hours ago.
how do you overlook a child?
How do you not search the whole house? 7 hours you haven't searched the whole house?
Well,
like, your
it
house
says,
is big, but Jesus.
it says for them to do another search.
I'm just saying, like, there's no way
I'm
in
sure
7
they
hours.
did look.
I just want to know how you could overlook a child, though. Where they can, I mean, I know they can hide anywhere when they're small, but how do you do that?
I'm
I
trying to
have
think,
heard
like,
of a story once where
is this the
I forgot who
Winchester
told me
house?
it. But when they were little, they actually did hide somewhere for a few hours. And then, so I mean, kids do that. I get it, but John Ramsey headed toward the basement. It wasn't a single open space, but a series of rooms, storage areas, and narrow corridors beneath the house. A layout that made it easy to miss something without a slow, methodical search.
In a small room off the basement, often referred to as a wine cellar, John found JonBenét. She was lying on the floor, and she was unresponsive.
And she was still wearing the clothes she had gone to sleep in.
John immediately picked her up and carried her upstairs.
At that moment, the case was no longer a kidnapping. JonBenét Ramsey had been dead for hours.
From an investigative standpoint, moving the body meant losing critical information, including how she was positioned, what surrounded her, and what may have transferred at the scene.
First responders attempted resuscitation. A blanket was placed over her, tape and cord were removed. These actions were human, instinctive. But they further altered a scene investigators would later depend on for answers.
The house shifted instantly, from waiting to grief.
Only later was the home formally secured. By then, hours of movement, of cleaning, of contact had already taken place, and potential evidence was gone forever.
From an investigative perspective, this moment marked a critical turning point. Not because of what was discovered, but because of how it was handled.
JonBenét's death would later be ruled a homicide, but determining how she died and who was responsible became infinitely more difficult because of the decisions made in the house on December 26th.
Before theories took hold, before blame was assigned, and before public opinion hardened, the evidence was already compromised. At this point, with the body found, the scene disturbed, and evidence already altered, do you guys think this investigation was still salvageable?
They
No.
completely fucked this investigation up.
Yeah, not unless somebody confessed, because
Yeah.
you're taking off very important things. Like, they said that there was duct tape and stuff on her, that she was in the wine cellar, he moved her upstairs, and they didn't even search the basement for 7 of the hours.
No. Well, even like right here, like it says, the police did take the report seriously as a kidnapping, but failed to follow standard crime scene procedures because they believed the child was no longer in the house. Because of the 3-page ransom note found by Patsy, responding officers assumed JonBenét had been taken from the premises. This led them to focus on the kidnapping aspect, waiting for a ransom call rather than conducting a forensic search of the home. First officer on the scene, Linda French, performed a sweep of the house, but did not open a latched door in the basement because she believed a kidnapper could not have latched it from the inside. JonBenét's body was found behind that door hours later.
Wait, it was latched from the inside on the room they found her in?
Yeah.
And no one thinks that they could have latched it?
Well, I do know one of the windows were broken. So they... I mean, we'll get into that in part 2, but...
Yeah.
It's, I mean, it's, I don't know. This whole thing just don't make any sense.
Was it broken from the inside or the outside?
Yeah. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. And so, Gary, what's his name? Gary Coleman? What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis?
And then it says the home was not cordoned off as a crime scene for several hours. Family, friends, victim advocates, and a minister were allowed to enter the house and come in as they go, whether they walk through various rooms and even clean surfaces in the kitchen. Why would you even clean surface?
Yeah. Yeah, if the investigation hasn't started yet, your best bet is just to fucking sit outside until they get there and wait. Don't start calling people over. Don't start going through things. And don't assume just because you have a ransom note, they're not still there.
Yeah, the thing that...
And then, I guess the Boulder Police Department was relatively small and inexperienced with major violent crimes at the time. Former Police Chief Tom Kobe later acknowledged that officers should have shut down the scene and taken formal statements from the parents immediately.
You'll think?
Nearly 7 to 8 hours after the initial 911 call, detectives suggested John Ramsey search the house to see if anything was out of place. He went directly to the basement and discovered the body, subsequently moving it upstairs and further contaminating the crime scene.
Oh my god.
I know.
That just like incriminizes you or whatever. What's that word? It just makes you look like the perpetrator.
I mean, I know that's one of the theories, but
I mean, looks really bad on that point. Like, you went directly down there 7 hours later on the second search when the police insisted you do another search and automatically went right to her and found her.
Yeah.
You weren't down there for a while. It's not like you went through every room. You whoop whoop.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of theories on what could have happened, but fortunately we don't know.
Yeah.
Stupid.
It's the most unfortunate.
It is very, very stupid.
Especially when it's a 6-year-old.
I know. It's awful.
Because what, another theory is like one of the guys that played Santa that come to the house or something.
Yeah, there's a few of them. I mean, they do make sense.
Probably get into it in part 2.
If I was taking a kid, I would not be sitting at their kitchen table writing a 3-page fucking ransom.
Eating a sandwich.
Well, and it's like, here's my thing. When are they gonna have the time to write that long of a note?
Exactly.
That's another one of the
home,
things.
And nobody at least coming down once in the middle of the night to see anything going on.
Well, that, and we'll get into in the part 2. I think they did like handwriting analysis or whatever. I don't fucking know. By the afternoon of December 26th, the Ramsey home was no longer just a family space. It was a crime scene. But it was a crime scene that had already been changed.
The body had been moved, evidence had been disturbed, friends and family had come and gone freely, and law enforcement was now trying to rebuild a timeline from fragments.
Investigators began documenting the house after the discovery. Photographs were taken, evidence was logged, notes were made, but many of the moments that mattered most had already passed.
What should have been preserved in the earliest hours, positions, pathways, points of entry, was now open to interpretation. And interpretation would become one of the defining problems of this case.
Very early on, questions arose about who should be leading the investigation: Boulder police, Boulder County officials, or outside agencies. That lack of clarity slowed decisions at a moment when time mattered the most.
As word of JonBenét's death spread, media attention arrived quickly. Satellite trucks, headlines, speculation. The story began moving faster than the investigation itself.
Within hours, details were being discussed publicly, before they were fully understood privately. Small inconsistencies were magnified, assumptions hardened, and narratives began forming before all the facts were known.
Later that evening, the Ramsey family left the house. They would never spend another night there.
For investigators, pressure continued to mount. Every unanswered detail treated as suspicion.
Formal, in-depth interviews with key individuals did not happen immediately. Those delays, whether logistical or emotional, would later complicate efforts to establish a clear, uncontested timeline.
By the end of that first day, the investigation faced challenges that would never be fully undone. Not because of a lack of effort, but because a lack of control in the earliest moments.
Investigations can recover from mistakes, but only if the evidence still speaks. In this case, much of it already couldn't.
By nightfall on December 26th, JonBenét Ramsey's case was already defined by questions, not just about what happened, but about what had been lost before the investigation truly began.
The evidence would be tested, reports would be written, experts would weigh in, but the foundation, that first day, could never be repeated.
And as days turned into weeks, the focus began to shift. Away from the house and toward the people inside it. So, at what point do you guys think this investigation became impossible to fully recover?
As soon as he moved the fucking body.
I'm gonna say that, and then again, they didn't take it seriously. I mean, I guess they took it more as, oh,
She's not here is
she's
what it
not
says.
here.
Like, they treated
but then
it.
they later thought, well, maybe she is here.
Well, you should always have somebody. That's why you have all these detectives. You got them all on the same page
Well,
is the problem.
You know,
You got to spread out.
it takes me back to, like, listening to this and how they didn't look in the house and whatnot. It kind of takes me back to the very first season of Stranger Things, when Hopper is looking around Joyce's house and says, well, he may have came back. Did you actually look?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of see that.
That too.
But
you never know.
you should have been looking at every area of your house, especially when it's a 6-year-old child.
Oh, I'd be looking everywhere. I wouldn't even care. Like, I'd still be looking everywhere. I wouldn't
Yeah.
be waiting for a phone call.
We locked
No.
the basement door and I'd still go down there.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's just one of those things. It's a common sense thing. And then for the Boulder City Police to not have been trained that well on that kind of stuff, that's a huge red flag for the police department.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like a panic scatter.
Yeah.
A more guilty kind of thought.
Because what if they would have walked into a murder? What if they would have walked in to the body being there?
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Right.
They already were scrambling around on this, not paying attention to who was coming and going, who was touching what.
And they weren't obviously following proper...
Yeah, because he said they came back from a Christmas party. Like, it wasn't at their house.
No.
And he went upstairs and put her in bed.
Yeah.
But Burke went to sleep later.
Yeah, they put him to sleep shortly after. And then when she got up, Mom got up the next morning. That's when she found the note. And she wasn't there.
So by that point, I don't know exactly what time they got back, but she was already probably gone for...
I read they got back around 9 p.m. They weren't gone too...
And she probably wakes up 6, 7.
Well, she probably woke up around 4 or 5 to get ready for their early flight.
Yeah? So, I mean, at that point,
I don't know what time that was. I'm just guessing.
That's still 7 hours, and then a 7-hour search, so that's 14 hours.
Technically, yeah.
Almost 15 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my speculation.
They completely fucked this case up.
Those are only assumptions. Nothing's in stone.
It's just like... No, there's a lot of cases, though, you read where people were touching the body and stuff. I'm like, leave it alone.
Or there's situations where, like, they leave a ransom note, but that's only in hopes to still get the money. At some points, the people are still already gone. Like,
because isn't just a regular ransom note like 1 page?
Yeah, not
usually
2.5 pages.
I took your daughter. Give me this, or she's dead.
Yeah, they went
Pretty
into
much.
like a full-on... That's why it makes me think it's somebody close to the family, because they went on a full-on rant.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, with the different directions of tone in the notes.
Here's you a ransom note. I
almost
kidnapped your daughter. I want $118,000. If I don't get it by this time, she's dead.
Yeah.
It almost seems like a few people wrote it together.
Yeah.
From the way it sounds and the tone shifting.
I don't think so. Well, we'll get into that in part 2, but yeah, I don't know. I wish I could get that kind of bonus.
I know.
Jesus.
That'd be freaking nice, man.
Yeah.
Boss is like, here's 118 grand.
Side thought, but yeah, I would love to get that. Shit. But anyways.
It's fucking bullshit that I don't make that kind of money.
I know. And because once the facts become uncertain, the theories took over. And that brings us to the end of part 1 of our 2-part series on the murder of JonBenét Ramsey.
In this first chapter, we focused on what is known, the timeline, the evidence, and the early moments that shaped everything that followed.
Part 2 will be released next Monday. That's when we'll walk through the autopsy findings, the early theories, the investigation paths that pulled this case in very different directions.
And if you're listening right now, and you appreciate the care, research, and restraint we bring to these stories, please make sure you're following Veil of Echoes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you're listening.
Leaving a rating or review helps our indie show reach new listeners and allows us to continue telling these stories with the respect they deserve.
And to everyone who takes the time to listen, reflect, and stay with us, thank you.
Before we go, we wanted to share one more quiet moment with you. This Wednesday, on Christmas Eve, we'll be releasing a special fireside episode. A shortened telling of a Christmas carol, a ghost story by the fire, meant to be heard slowly. We hope you'll join us.
This Friday, we step away from true crime and into a place where the walls remember. A place where whispers linger, where footsteps echo without source, and where some guests never truly check out.
High in the mountains of Colorado stands a hotel with a reputation carved into its halls. Doors that open on their own, pianos that play in empty rooms, children's laughter drifting through silent corridors.
Some say the spirits are the gentle, others say they're watching, waiting, and a few guests leave convinced they were never alone, not even for a moment.
We will uncover the hauntings, the history, and the stories that refuse to fade inside the Stanley Hotel. Because once you spend a night there, you may leave, but something else might follow you home.
Until then, keep your ears open.
And the veil closed.